Music is among the most fascinating subjects to study, and in this video I aim to provide an overview on musical properties and uses. To begin, I will provide a definition for music, which is the science of combining tones in rhythmic, melodic, and harmonic order, so as to produce effects that shall be intelligible and agreeable to the ear. That's according to Google at least. Anyways, I find music so fascinating simply because some people will like one song and have a strong distaste for a different one. Why is that? Even if both songs are perfectly fine and there's nothing wrong with them, people will still prefer one over the other. Furthermore, there are songs that nobody will like. I'll provide some examples here. And now, did you prefer one? And why is that? Now here's another example. That one didn't sound so good, did it? Now, if we're brutally honest, all of those songs sounded pretty bad, but that's not the important thing right now. The point I'm making is that no music is intelligible and agreeable to everyone. I for one listen to avant-garde metal, which is super cool if you like it, but many people don't appreciate it because it's weird to them. Now, is there anything wrong with avant-garde metal? Certainly not. Do I completely understand why the majority of people have a strong distaste for the chaotic sound? Certainly. But if we look at the music that most people appreciate, that is widely known as pop, we can tell some differences. First, we have a completely different feeling from the two, which I will talk about later. Secondly, pop is way simpler and happier, generally, whereas avant-garde metal is incredibly complex and aggressive. Most people want a decent background noise, so they turn on whatever music, and that is what they like. Metal, on the other hand, is an intricate, aggressive genre in which great philosophy, science, theology, and other subjects of discussion are contemplated. Some great examples of metal bands that do this are Dream Theater, Epica, All That Remains, August Burns Red, and Powerman 5000. These bands often discuss issues on a broad spectrum while being very technically proficient. Now, there are obviously many more genres than metal and pop, but these were some easy examples to use. Another incredible thing about music that I teased earlier is the feeling that they give. Different songs can make you feel differently. That is why movies and video games have soundtracks. A good soundtrack can greatly improve an experience. That's why, since the dawn of film, a theater would have a piano player play something that would reflect the movie. If you take a video game with a great soundtrack and play it with the music muted, you will start to find the issues with the game. Also, the game will feel entirely different. Some good examples can be found with the game Halo Combat Evolved. It has an incredible soundtrack that perfectly conveys the message that the game is giving. The game will feel a bit flat and pointless without its soundtrack though, and you realize that all you're doing is running around and shooting aliens to no end and getting lost. But with the soundtrack, the game feels mysterious, heroic, and futuristic all at the same time. The soundtrack perfected the game essentially. Another example of a great soundtrack is No Man's Sky. The soundtrack perfectly captures the mission of the game, which is simply to explore the infinite universe in which the game is set. Now at this point, you may realize that the only examples I've given are video games. That was intentional. I only gave examples of video games mostly because it's hard to watch a movie without its soundtrack, whereas in video games, it's just an option in the settings. if you got tired of me talking about video game soundtracks, and here's a different example. Dune and Dune Part 2. These movies are extremely good, but one thing I noticed is that Hans Zimmer's soundtrack makes everything feel epic and important. Not to say that none of it was important, but man, Hans could make people talking about sand seem awesome. Not even John Williams could do that. The hard thing with bringing up the Dune soundtracks is that Hans did so many interesting things with inventing instruments and whatnot, that the soundtrack deserves its own video. But I don't feel like making one right now. Anyways though, my point is that music can make even the most minute activities seem heroic and important, which is very incredible. Very few art forms can accomplish what music can. If you liked this video, then don't forget to press the like button and leave a comment. I may or may not do more of these depending on if anyone likes them. Now probably at this point I'm going to be flashing some text or something on screen that you might want to look at. Maybe another meme. 2 memes this time maybe. Or some important information about the channel that I didn't feel like saying.